Stand down, Reeve. The Solarian is with me.
Enough! You can stay here and let old wounds fester as Krogan have always done. Or you can fight the enemy you were born to destroy, and win a new future for our children. I choose to fight.
Hello, Mass Effect Nation. In this video, I want to go over the Codex entry for E3 2015 this year. I want to give you the information that you will need so you know when to expect certain information about specific games. Specifically, I'm going to give you when to expect Mass Effect information. I want to give you the specific dates and times certain conferences are taking place, so if you want to look for a specific game or a specific developer, you will know where to go. You will know the date and time to be prepared to take off work and just hide out in the cabin in the woods with your laptop and Wi-Fi. I also want to tell you about a couple rumors I've seen circulating around the extranet regarding BioWare at E3 this year. Now, if you haven't already heard about E3, you must have been living under a rock on some undiscovered planet somewhere. Maybe one we'll discover in the next Mass Effect game.
Get out of here, now, before it blows!
Blows? What the—
Run!
Alright!
I can't believe that actually worked.
But E3 is the largest and the longest running one. Now this year, the conferences where the developers talk about their future games and current games, which is by far the most interesting part about E3, will take place Sunday, June 14th and going to Tuesday, June 16th. And June 17th and 18th will also have individual game showings as well. You can usually get some additional information from these that you didn't get from the original conferences the first 3 days. Now, before getting into the Mass Effect specific information, I'm going to give you a brief overview of those first 3 days so you know what conferences are going to take place. Now Sunday, June 14th, is dedicated to one of my all-time favorite game developers, Bethesda. They make The Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and hopefully they're gonna show Fallout 4. I am really excited for Fallout 4. Their conference is going to take place at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time, which is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then obviously next is Monday, June 15th, which is going to start off with the Microsoft conference at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Then next up at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, this is an important one, is the Electronic Arts Conference, which is when BioWare is going to show their games. BioWare, which obviously makes Mass Effect. Come on, you should be following along by now. After hopefully Mass Effect is going to be Ubisoft at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, and finally Sony at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. The last major main conference day, Tuesday, June 16th, is going to start off with Nintendo at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, then Square Enix at 10, and finally the PC Gaming Show at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Now that you have the info you will need to track down the specific game or developer that you're interested in, let's get to the Mass Effect related information regarding E3. Now, Mass Effect has a high chance of being at E3 this year. In fact, I could almost guarantee it. The major reason behind this is because if you remember, and I've said this before, last year at E3, when Dragon Age Inquisition was about to be released and was the major focus of BioWare, they still showed a very tiny, small Mass Effect trailer. Obviously, this trailer didn't show much, but it was still unexpected, and it showed that BioWare did want to show at least something of Mass Effect. And now that Dragon Age Inquisition has been out for almost a year now, BioWare will almost certainly show a lot more of Mass Effect. The only other thing they have in development is their new IP, and at this point their new IP is likely much farther away from being released than the next Mass Effect game. But there is one thing we need to keep in mind. The EA conference isn't going to be all day. At best, it'll be an hour or two, and EA has EA Sports and a lot of other gaming franchises under its belt. BioWare will not be the only developer wanting to show stuff during this conference, so my guess is EA will at best give BioWare 20 to 30 minutes depending on what they're going to show. More than likely, it might even be 20 to 15 minutes. Now, BioWare will likely want to talk about their new IP a little bit, but in my opinion, they will still focus on Mass Effect, because after all, like I said previously, Mass Effect is a lot more likely to come out before their new IP. And when I say new IP, I mean new game franchise that they haven't made before. Meaning not a sequel to Dragon Age or Baldur's Gate, that's an old one, but you know what I mean. And then there's this little rumor that has been floating around. No, I'm not talking about the Mass Effect leak. I'm talking about something that has been reported on recently by certain gaming websites, such as IGN, GameSpot, and Kotaku. Now, I'm not sure what I personally think about this rumor. I think it's plausible because of certain things I've brought up before, but this specific rumor has to do with BioWare being at E3. Now, obviously, BioWare is always at E3. They always have something to show every year. But if you remember, BioWare has separate studios. BioWare Edmonton recently released Dragon Age Inquisition, and BioWare Montreal is focusing on Mass Effect. Now, this rumor is saying that BioWare Montreal themselves will be at E3. If this rumor is true, then that just adds even more credibility to the fact that Mass Effect will have a large presence at E3 this year. Don't worry, I expect at least a proper announcement trailer for the next Mass Effect game at E3 this year. We'll probably get to see some characters for the first time, and get some answers about the Andromeda Galaxy rumor. We may even see who the main character will be. Now, if we don't get to see any gameplay, which is a good possibility, I can estimate that we will most likely see some in-game images so we could judge how far along they are in the development process and see how the game is looking. This could give us an overall feel of how the game will feel and play. Now, what I want to know is what you expect us to see at E3 this year for the next Mass Effect game, and what you're most hyped to see. I also want to know what games you're most excited to see. For me, it's Mass Effect obviously, but also Fallout 4. Leave your answers in the comments, and in a future video, I'll take my favorite comments and the community's favorite comments and show them in the video. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you want to be part of a Mass Effect Nation and be up to date with the latest news, like and subscribe to me on this channel and on my Twitter and my Facebooks. We need to spread hype for Mass Effect so that BioWare will know that this game is loved and followed. That way BioWare will be more willing to share more information with us more often. Thanks for watching. Keela Salai, Mass Effect Nation.
But then I began to smell my greatness.